I think easily by far the worst idea anyone in any position can ever have is to one day announce a best or favourite one thing of all time, while not expecting to almost instantly change their mind 2 weeks later, wasting everyone's time and faith in anything else they have to say. But with that being said, I'm now going to explain exactly why The Matrix is the best franchise of all time. Ignoring how famously influential, iconic, groundbreaking and well written the movies are, they're some of the most original as well, by for one being the first and only series ever to lie to its audience and even deliberately not explain integral plot points that mean the last two movies make no sense to anyone who watched them without having a fucking PhD in them. So you could say that I might be a bit of a fan, right?
And after anxiously awaiting the sequel.
You'd think so, but apparently I'm still missing integral knowledge of vital plot that details what happens to two minor background characters while everything exciting was happening somewhere else, with the actually interesting characters. Which is the only reason that exists as to why Enter the Matrix was developed. Because I am dying to find out. Wait, no I'm not. First though, we need to emotionally prepare ourselves for that climax with some exciting build-up, which was obviously the thought process behind making level 1 the post office. I was in a post office the other day. First thing I thought was, why hasn't anyone set a video game here yet? It's now though, while it's still early, that I need to address this game's infamy. You see, people don't like this game, going as far to say it's one of the worst games of all time and being generally considered the worst licensed game of all time. That's this game. The game you are seeing here. That you're watching now. People don't like this. And today, now I'm going to put forward a case as to why these people deserve nothing less than to be hit by a car. Of realization that they're wrong. Metaphorically. And also a fast-moving vehicle. Side note, I'm playing the PC version with a keyboard, and not having analog input for movements only gives me two options in that department, either completely still, or what looks like me in a sprint towards another opportunity to make a video that no one's gonna watch. So that's an animation issue exclusive to the PC version, although nothing excuses this. That it just does. Which sure is a massive failing due to moving being pretty much unavoidable, but it's a massive issue in the one area the game focuses in on, the only area in which it was so important that they didn't have any issues in. No one needs to be told anymore that action movies and games only work if they're backed up with a story that makes you care about the action, and what with The Matrix having famously the best concept ever written, all of the hard work was already done, making the safest, easiest, most viable and best option to just simply take the most exciting scenes from the movies and let the brain-dead masses push the colourful buttons and pretend they're doing something cool for once in their miserable, barely existent lives. And do you know what? Yeah, I'll take some of that, please. Because flashy animation, breakneck action, and good old brain-dead, youth-corrupting violence is quite a bit more than the one area the game focuses in on. It's the only area the game focuses in on. It's the game. I'm not even gonna try to pretend that there's more to this than just two attack buttons, or that the game isn't just doing all of the stuff you're seeing here on its own, because yep, that was pretty much everything, but that's not what's in question. The real question is that really a bad thing? Yes. Wait, no. It's just pure, unapologetic, brain cell killing action. That's all it is, that's all it's set out to be, and that's just something you have to come to terms with before you start fucking crying and complaining. That being said though, I am still absolutely gonna complain, and there will be crying. Despite only being able to play as two characters no one had heard of, you're at least given the choice, so you might as well be flipping a fucking coin. The screens with the live feed mimicking the operator's monitor is fucking awesome, but so devoid of any useful information that you wouldn't even know there was a difference unless you read the manual, in which case you wouldn't even know there wasn't a difference. While Niobe is apparently better at fighting, it's only ever on some enemies who will take one less hit. Likewise with Ghost, while he's apparently better at gun combat, he's only slightly more accurate, but only when at close range and in slow motion. Then there's Sparks, who isn't playable and only verbally helps you from outside the Matrix, but regardless is by far my favourite character even over the movie's main characters. He fucks me up so bad, it's like he doesn't even know where he is.
I ask you to try to think of something that does have meaning. Namely, my life.
Sparks, shut up.
Sure, why not?
Sure, there's some difference in the routes you take through each level, but you'd only know that by playing through it twice, meaning you'd have played it as much as me, and at that point, why even continue living if you call that living? I call it Saturday. Again, sure, it's some depth at least, and you'd think I'd be all over it considering it helps push the point I'm trying to make, but Ghost, or as I better remember his name, Man, is given the more wide open levels full of armed enemies to better use his guns and accuracy, while Girl has the more enclosed stages where you'd be better off using hand-to-hand combat more so anyway, so... Hang on, I got this. The level design is good, but so good that it makes each character's intended playstyle completely redundant, so it's actually not good. Please subscribe. What's really insane though is that everything I'm saying right now is still way more credit than anyone has ever given this game. That's despite it being famously the single best translation of a movie series to a game that's ever been done and ever will be done. All the original actors, the directors, composers and writers during the production of the movies wrote and filmed scenes for the game alongside scenes from the movies, because instead of being made to awkwardly fit somewhere after the success of the movie like every other licensed game ever, it was factored into the timeline during the creation of the timeline, belonging there as much as the movies themselves. Because yeah, as it turns out, what they did after they slid down the sewer pipe was actually really fucking important. What a surprise, yet another one of my blind, baseless assumptions was just that. Again, you'd think I'd eventually learn. Now I know there isn't enough server space at YouTube to hold a single video explaining the Matrix properly, nor do they serve literally anyone who fucking cares. So basically, and in short, they go around just behind Morpheus and Neo picking up all the shit they drop, sometimes literally, until after the sewer scene wherein the events and their actions directly result and allow for the movies to exist. Too bad that's their actions and not yours, since everything that isn't killing happens in cutscenes. But I would not have that any other way. Still though, I cannot get over the fact that these aren't scenes from the films, but exclusively the game's cutscenes. The franchise was both ahead of its time technically and in seeing games as something other than a quick, easy additional revenue source. Despite still doing exactly that, the last desperate thing I will say to the game's credit though, and I mean will against everyone's will, because normally people walk away whenever I start on about this shit again, something I'm obsessed with in games are aspects that weren't intentional and weren't there when it was released, but are there now through nothing more than the passing of time. It could be the result of a huge number of things, or the combination of all of them, but the fact that every level but one is set at night, the low lighting, the reflective floors, how you never see many people walking around, it just makes every stage feel sleepy. Not boring, not creepy, not lonely, not quite realistic, but really fucking relaxing, calm. Although, like I said, the game makes every attempt to be as exciting and fast-paced as possible, when you're not fighting or shooting, it derails tragically, killing millions and losing everything. Like I also said, that could be because of anything, like how accurately locations were recreated, regardless of the fact they didn't have the technology to properly populate them. It's not really a good thing or a bad thing, but it's another reason to play it nowadays, in my opinion at least. Because even I'll say the character models, despite being really well mocapped, aren't drawing anyone to anything other than their hands to the power button, but that just comes with anything old that tried to look realistic. You can add that to the list of things it has in common with the movies. All we can do is appreciate them for what they try to be and what they once were. I said that's all we can do. Because I'm putting this out there right now. This is an official MasterJay promise. If they ever remake The Matrix, I will kill myself. My life's in your hands, Warner Bros. Your move.